Hello and welcome. Today's date is that of Thursday, 26th day of March, 2020. My name is Derek. All bets, trades, and the like within each's own risk and their own reward. I want to start off within the daily term time frame for all the base markets because it seems as if everything's been going up the last few days, although crude oil, not as much the case as it is below the 18 average of lows from this is, of course, most recent large decline. Crude oil prices at 61 before has fallen down to like 21, and it's only at almost and under 24 at this stage. As far as the Dow Industrials are concerned, it's rallied the last couple days, and it's went from 18.2, and it's managed to get to the 18 average of highs at around 22. So that's 2,000 on the 2 number, plus another close to 2,000 in here. That's almost 4,000 basis points. And that's over 20% from the lows, but of course it's been down quite a lot as well. Today's session hasn't been included in it. It's right now set at this time, 9:15 a.m. Eastern time as I'm doing this. It's set to go down 45 points. So it's pretty much right at this number in here. It's in the correctionary level. If it stays within this range, that means that would be enough to at least flatten out the band. Next up is silver. And it too up to the 18 average of highs, and it's been holding in there within today's session nicely from this one. And continuously green, every day has been a green candle, 6 in a row, but that's after every day of like 9 or 10 and a lot more red ones in a row with, of course, these 3 big ones. And even these ones in here, given that they pierced down to 11 and high change. Of course, never able to buy silver anywhere near that price and at those times. And I'm not sure where the ratios or how the spreads or the extra cost, the VIG, the premiums, that's the word I'm looking for, on silver is here with the price going higher. But I would still presume that there's going to be high premiums moving forward as the supply, I think, is going to be an interesting issue. I'm going to talk more about just the whole economy factor on it. But as far as silver is concerned, it may be a very, very hard real commodity to get, and that could be very interesting for price actually moving into April and May and throughout the rest of the year. Gold is managing to get above the 18 average of high, supported yesterday, and right now it should be breaking out higher. We'll get to this in a bit because the hourly time frame has a nice setup, but for now we're just showing the daily charts of these things. And if we take a look at gold just within, say, this one in here, this says 1664, which is noticeably different back up to the previous highs. And this is the futures, where the other one is the COMEX. So why there's that little bit of a difference? And it's been like this, I reported before, the 2-point-something% differential. Right now, the differential is 30 some odd basis points. So we're pretty much near 2% when you divide this one by this one. As far as silver is concerned, we're going to be going on to, that's a big differential there, 60 and 31. I know there's a delay in time maybe too, because there's where one's not. But anyways, with that being said, that is, the futures for that. But palladium is the one I wanted to show. It's just kicking ass right now. And what a 2-day move here. It was 17.22 up to 23 and change. And even from the fall, almost, but very close, we'll say almost 28 and change. Down to easily at 1,600, but even as low as like 15. And now from the 1,600 has managed, it's up to 23 now. That's 300 plus 400, that's 700 on 1,600. Only 100 to go for 50%. So it's pretty much a 50% move, especially when you count moves a little above here and then the moves down here. Just phenomenally large moves, to say the least. Now, the hourly time frame on gold is just beautiful here. Not so much. Let's now bring in the gold one. And it even looks nice on the 3 too. But I mean, it'll coincide with the same pattern. But the nice little rally here on the breakout, March 23rd, 8 a.m. New York time. And it's completing it the next evening, nighttime period, 7 p.m., 8 p.m. And then this substantial amount of time in this correctionary phase in the 18 average of low supporting very well. There we have getting out above it, 6 o'clock in the morning, the holding of it, and then the exitation the previous hour, and still continuing off really nice. So I think we're going to be poised for an amazingly sharp up day for the price of gold. I haven't looked at the silver one, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's got a nice hourly time frame too, because it seemed it was poised, to have this is the same sort of deal, just a nice, really, really beautiful setup, 3-hour term time frame on here. Looking phenomenal, but so does gold on it, because that's when I looked at before. I'm like, oh my goodness, that looks fantastic. Then the hourly look good. So yeah, here's the 3-hour for gold. Yeah, fantastic setup, as we can see. Beautiful up move, the nice sideways consolidation, bending it within the 18 highs and with the 18 lows. Then we can see how it's exiting within this level of resistance. It's a nice setup. We're just starting this period right now. So if this morning, if it doesn't sell off this morning, that means as we move into the afternoon, we could be set up. And I don't know if there's any type of fundamental economic news. It seems like there's always, every single hour or two, something between the president or between Federal Reserve peoples will say something and do something. And we've seen the amount of printing fiat currency added to this is just a large version. Bitcoin, that was the one I didn't do. I mean, I knew I was missing one on the daily chart. So let me just move this to daily, because that started the whole thing. And that's the whole topic that I want to get on in here. And then these Fibonacci lines, just whatever. They're just doing its thing. So at the bottom in here, we can see March 13th, and then the bottom March 16th, and it really gets going on March 19th. And it's into the 18th. This is all starting early. I mean, the markets were going down when Bitcoin was still going up like this. As we can see, the breakout date here is on March 19th. If we go back to these other ones, say go to the Dow Jones, what was going on March 19th here? Oh, March 19th was a sideways day, 2 more days down before it got going. Okay, how about that of gold? March 19th. March 19th was, that day gold was going down, Bitcoin was going up, and then, okay, next day gold started its upward move. So Bitcoin starting it, then gold following, and well, crude oil, of course, isn't there yet. And there's a few more things that I do want to go over, and I'm going to basically do a lot of this in the next video. But before, I want to talk about just a list of a few types of companies. And I could put a whole bunch more on this, but I got dentists who are, from what I hear, they're just not in business anymore, at least doing their normal job. I might be wrong about that, but restaurants for sure have been shutting down. Some of them are still doing takeout, but even then, the whole point of being able to go in and eat at some restaurants. Sports, this is a big one. This is what started, you could say, too, maybe. Either way, it was going to happen. So everything affiliated with sports, professionally, collegiately, amateurishly, but on all levels is another way of putting it. In so many different forms, it's just large. Massage, chiropractor, you want to get some furniture or appliances. Do you need to buy a car? Are car dealers still open? How about antiques and collectibles? Anything to do with convention halls and things of that nature, jewelry? Home and building construction. So if you're building a home or an office or a big building, they're not being built. Technology stores, barbers, haircuts, clothing stores, games and toys, casinos, hotels. And I've been in the hotel business before, knowing that you got to have enough people staying the night every night. And then a lot of their other businesses, like their restaurants, are going to be affected on that as well. And then when scenarios get so bad, that's when hotels stop becoming a hotel and becoming, I'll call it a medical facility of some sort. And then movies, other entertainment affiliated with that, like comedy shows, different things of that nature, things not included. Well, all of these things have been shutting down. And I can talk about fiat currencies, historical points, what happens to it, different stages, what comes next, all that type of stuff. And there's a lot of information on the current currency we have for some history of it, both like recent and not so long ago. Really, not so long ago is even anything in the 1900s, like World War II kind of deal with Germany and so many others. But what kind of history have we had of a large field of business types, we'll say, forced to shut down? and not do business, and the ramifications of such after the fact. There is no history about that. There will be for the first time, and the fallout within this, and I don't think it's going to be really bad, I think, and for the last several years, many dozens of months, or lots of months anyway, I've been thinking, you know what, this is probably going to be looking good, in the sense that the fiat currency system probably isn't going to like just go to the major hyperinflationary stages for a significant period of time. 2022, 23, 24, 25 kind of deal. So this should give you a decent amount of time in the preparation. And shouldn't, even for that matter, like a year ago, it's like, as far as gold and silver is concerned, man, there is no signs of those things going up by any means. You got, as far as I know, or as of now, you got lots of time. And then within the last year, really in the last 8-9 months, it was like, okay, well, there's signs it's breaking out. It's still cheap, but I don't know how much time you got left, and now it's tough. We don't have much time left, maybe. And that's how fast these stages are. Because if you don't got your gold and silver right now, as far as part of your longer term, and longer term might be September plan of well storage. I mean, it's important to always have the essentials that you need, your food, your supplies, and all the different things that are very important. And many of them you can stock up on, and there's good and bad. I mean, hoarding. There's hoarding when you buy too much, especially for reasons for resale. For many items can be very speculative or controversial. But if you're just having a little bit more than what one would need at a time, meaning if you use 1 unit of a product a day, and you have 60 or 80 or 100 or 150 units, 200, and you always buy when you get down to 100, well, that's just ensuring, and if that situation comes up, well, you got a long supply that way. And if you're able to afford to be able to do that, then to me, I think when you're talking about items that have a long storage life, and a lot of things do, then you make sure those are taken care of. But a lot of items, your fresh foods, your fruits, your vegetables, there's so many different things, your breads, they got to be fresh. And you're going to need to have money for them at those times to pick them up. And I mean, we're at a stage now, I'm hearing about cash, fiat currency, paper rectangles are almost becoming abolished. You can't use them right now. But in a case of any bank holiday where banks are shutting down and their system doesn't work, then now fiat currency becomes gold, almost, but not really. But gold would become gold, I would assume. Does that make sense? Gold becomes gold. Hey, one day it might again. On a future video, which will probably be coming up soon, I'm going to talk more about that. And what I'm thinking about doing is we'll go for a little bit of a walk, maybe, at least the way today's style. This is Yonge Street in Toronto. Just go over a lot of these different businesses like Urban Outfitters, obviously how much they've been shut down. There's Ride Yoga, the yoga places. Just go for a little bit of a tour. This is going south towards Lake Ontario. Go Raps go. Yeah, there's no sports going on right now. And this is going north, headed towards, and a long ways to go to do what's the big street going east and west? Bloor Street? I think Bloor. And we'll just go through some of the stores and talk about how they have been hit, because Burger King, Money Mart Financial Services, they're not running right now. Stag Shop Adult Store, well, they're not running either. There's what kind of picture they got up there. Hey, that's 45-year anniversary. Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.